Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video and a new build. One thing I will say just before we move on is this car did not come with that number plate. That has now been removed, and the only reason the plates are on there is because I picked this one up from the dealership. I actually had to go with somebody else and get it collected. So this actually come through a subscriber. It belongs to his friend or his wife. I can't remember what he said now, but it actually belonged to her and ex-wife, sorry. And he said, look Rob, it's for sale, someone's meant to be having it, they've really messed us around. I asked him how much it was, he told me the price, I transferred him the money without seeing the car because it sounded that nice. This car has only covered 50 something thousand miles, which is
54, isn't it?
54,000, which is beautiful. It is an XC60 R design, fully loaded, Napa leather. It's just got everything on it. It does have a couple of little scrapes, knocks and bangs, but we found the trim inside and we're thinking possible recovery issue there. We don't quite know, but yeah, a couple of little marks around it. The main focus of the problem, I actually offended the man at Volvo, Chris. I don't know if I told you.
Right. It's not like you to offend people, Rob.
No. Do you know what I said? I said, what's the problem with it then, mate? Cam belt. He went, well, the fan belt snapped. I went, oh, the common problem. And he went, yeah, common problem when people don't service their vehicles. But that is a common problem.
Well, I suppose on these, it's the problem is when the auxiliary belt fails, it does or can do catastrophic damage, can't it? Where on 99% of vehicles, when the auxiliary belt fails,
You just change it.
You just change it, yeah. You might end up with an alternator battery light on, and that's it. But that's the problem is when they fail, it has bad repercussions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we don't know.
No.
But we're guessing, as the main dealer's had it in and then have kind of condemned it, it's not looking good for it, is it?
Apparently he said to them the next step was to take the head off.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can do a little bit of investigating beforehand.
We certainly will strip off a few bits and see what the main problem is. That when the belt goes, it gets drawn into the timing belt cover.
Yes.
And then goes around the sprocket, jumps the teeth, does the belt. We don't know what it's done, but it normally affects the timing in some way, which then has a knock-on effect to cam followers, cams, bent valves, etc., etc. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a...
But let's have a look, ultimately.
We don't know, do we?
We did have one of these before, and you're going to say, well, you never repaired the other one. And to be fair, the other one had done 160,000 miles, and we weren't interested in getting involved. There wasn't enough in it.
No.
This car is lovely low mileage. We got it for a great price, and we want to have a look at that. But I guess let's have a look around it. It really is a nice car. It could do with a good clean, but obviously it broke down and it's been sat around for quite a while. But very, very nice car. Very nice. All-wheel drive as well. I'm going to come back round to the interior in a minute, Chris, but has had a repair done before on this arch, and you can see there is a small amount of filler in there, but the paintwork there, I mean, I don't like to slag anyone's paintwork off, but yeah, it's not brilliant, so that's going to need some paintwork. It's going to need little bits of paint around it, but I think the main issue is that engine. But let's have a little tiny look inside before we push it in the workshop. There's the auxiliary belt, look.
Yeah.
And the guy at the dealership did tell me, I've took the starter motor relay out so no one wangs it over and causes any further damage. There's that trim that's missing, and they're just the scuttle panels that I took off to get a jump pack on it. But very, very nice car, and I know they're really, really desirable. It looks like it's not long just had a brand new set of boot spot on the front of it as well. Let's get it in and
tear it apart.
Attack it, mate. Yeah, let's do it.
So.
We wanted to nail quite a bit of that on the time lapse there, i.e. under tray, wheels off, wheel arch liner out, engine mounts out the way. It's not a great deal to show, apart from me being over the top of Chris and not being able to help him, but we've got the engine mount out the way, cam belt covers ready to come off. Just got to find the bolts that are holding it on, and then I think we'll all have a look in there together and see whether there's any damage. And
well, it's not been taken off, has it?
No. He did say though, next step, investigate, is take the, oh actually Chris, there's a couple of bolts in that, but I was able to just pull it off. Look, the belt is still on it.
Interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. I'm not going to ask you to talk too much because sharing, that's all right. Right, we'll leave it there for a minute. We get some more of that stripped out, and I guess we're going to have a look and see if it's timed up, because it doesn't look like the belt is broke. But it's that bottom pulley down there that the belt wraps around, so we might have to have that bottom pulley off and see if there's any of the belt caught in there behind that as well. I know on the last car there was various teeth and bits and pieces stuck behind that when we removed it, wasn't there? So
I mean, in an ideal world,
yeah,
we will be able to get rid of the debris, time it up and do a compression test, won't we?
yeah, yeah.
But
we've got a new compression tester now that tests through injector holes, glow plug holes, everything like that, doesn't it? So
yes.
Yeah, we'll just get it stripped out, mate, see how we get on. So bottom pulley's off. Let's zoom in a little bit quick.
You can see that.
Oh, well, I'm zoomed too far in now.
Is that showing?
Yeah, it's bits of the belt.
Yeah, it's bits of but the timing belt all looks intact, doesn't it? It's gone and wrapped around the crank.
That's really wound around there, yeah.
It's in between the cover, the backing plate of the cover, and the belt. So you might need to just wind the engine backwards and wind that out, Rob.
Yeah.
But all the timing belt does look intact, but you've got a timing mark there. So I'm gonna guess, I don't know if you can see that, on the backing cover there's a can you see through that hole? I don't know if you can.
Yes, see the notch, yeah.
Yeah, so that's got to go round, so it's only about a quarter of a turn.
I think we'll chuck the nut back on though, in case that doesn't.
And then we'll see how far we get the rest of that cover off, and we can see if it has moved off the timing much.
Yeah. Right. Nearly off with that as well, so nearly there with it. Let's carry on.
I don't think that belt going in there would be enough to stall the engine, do you?
5-cylinder diesel 2.4, I think. You wouldn't like to think so, would you?
Wouldn't stall the engine, so it would just go until it shredded something. So, but I'm surprised because none of that pulley had certainly not been removed previous. No. So I'm surprised no one's just
investigated a little bit further.
Yes,
but that's what I always say. That works better for us.
Well, it does.
Because if it was an easy fix, they would have got lucky.
Yeah.
Right.
If we put that nut on there and just turn the engine backwards half a turn and see if that bit of debris comes out.
Let's give it a go, mate. So as usual, like with any of these vehicles we purchase, we run a check using Car Vertical. So mileage okay, theft okay, accidents okay, finance all clear. Very, very good news on this one. This is very interesting. Was registered the 11th 2012 and then sold the 9th 2013 on not even a year. And then you can see there on the 10th 2013 it had that private number plate put on it, ROC9Y from GY62. And then when you go right through it, that was 2013, and go all the way down for all of the mileage and MOT history, right down the very bottom, license plate change, there you can see March 2023, that number plate was removed and actually put back on its original reg there. So everything on this car has checked out absolutely fine, and like I said, it's very, very low mileage. So this check was performed in all of these countries: United Kingdom, Romania, Czech Republic, Canada, United States, etc. The handy mileage graph there, all the mileage, and the last MOT there at 49,000 miles on the 7th 2022. Right down the bottom of this check there is 9 helpful tips and tricks of things to check when you're purchasing your vehicle. It'll also tell you all the MOT history, whether it's currently taxed, currently MOT'd, how long's left on it, and quite often as well valuations if the car's been listed on an auction site or other various car sites. That sometimes shows pictures on there as well. Here's a quick example of what you would see if there was an issue initially off the back on your check. It would be clearly highlighted in amber, and as you can see, that one's highlighted that there's a mileage discrepancy, theft, accident, and the only thing that's clear is actually finance. I am going to quickly scroll to the bottom of this check in case it includes pictures and of course photos of that car when it was damaged at the particular auction house that it was at. I want to thank Car Vertical once again for the continued support on the channel. Guys, to benefit from a 10% discount off your check, use the link in the description or the code SR10 from any browser. So we did initially try and crank it over by hand, and straight away it became apparent that it actually bottomed out. There's something's touching ultimately. So
piston to valve.
Piston to valve, yeah. So Chris is pulled that bottom pulley forward, and as you can see,
we just put that on there, bolted that on,
and just brought it away a little bit.
It away and got another bit out.
Another bit of debris, and as you can see underneath the car there's a huge bit in front of that airline, and that's the bit we actually had to unwind off the bottom of the cam. So you can see there was a fair bit of belt that got caught behind there. Chris has actually timed it up. The timing marks you can see are on the top. Do you want to point it out, bud? On the top, on the bottom top of the crank there, sprocket. And then just behind it that little line I showed earlier, and then up the top here we've got a little tiny notch, as you can see, just there, and just in the top of the cam cover you've got a notch cut out there, which is your timing marks. So Chris has timed it up, but why he's doing that, we just said even if it times up and it does turn over by hand. Now it was actually a subscriber in Scotland that reached out to us last time that does a lot of these Volvos and said, believe it or not Rob, they do quite similar to the Berlingo vans. They break rockers and you get lucky with them. So regardless of whether we're timing it up and it's turning over all right, if it did start, we'd obliterate everything that is inside there. So while Chris is doing that, I'm going to whip this cam cover off, and we're actually going to have a good look in there while it's turning over, and if there is bent valves, there's a good chance we'll see that as well, won't we? So a lot of work, but definitely well worth it. So let's crack straight on.
It's only an 8-valve engine, aren't we?
Yes,
it's only single cam, and you know, if it is the same as the Berlingo, the valves are vertical.
10 valve, 5-cylinder.
Oh, it's 5 valve, yeah. If the valves are vertical, and it tends to, when a piston impacts, it hits it dead square, pops it up and breaks
the rocker,
or knocks the lobe round on the cam.
Yeah.
Either or both. So, but yeah, we'll take that off and have a look, shall we?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'll crack on with that while you're down here doing the timing. So we have got it timed up, and we've actually done a couple of revolutions with that, and it's turned over, but we can hear a little tiny pa-ding, pa-ding inside there. So we're hopeful at this point. It is a 50-50, the same as on the Berlingos and the Partners, because ultimately that is turning around all the way a couple of revolutions. So there's no valves interfering with the pistons. Now it is timed up, but I can hear stuff in there. So I guess we're not going to know until we get inside there. We are just about to remove all the injectors. You can see I've removed all of the injector pipes. That was all very straightforward, and you can't even put them back on round the wrong way. Each row is individual, so they'll only fit one side. It is good practice, even though it is nice low on the miles. Chris is just covering up the injectors. He's got the airline in his hand, and what he's going to do is blow any debris out of there, just because we're going to pull them injectors out. We'll probably pull them out as a set if they all move nicely and keep the spillbacks on.
I don't know how well that shows up, Rob, but just round in there, it's just
loads of little bits and
that can fall directly into the cylinder.
Yeah.
Just give it a little blow out. That's it.
It just limits the amount of stuff.
Loose,
Loose, yeah. So, right, we'll carry on, get all this stripped out, and then we'll all have a look inside together. I'm quite excited.
They feel quite loose, don't they?
You've got two moving already.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? Nice, low mileage car. Hasn't been chuffing, hasn't been left.
It's a bit tighter.
What I mean by chuffing, guys, when the injector seals go and a little bit chuffs by there. Anyway, we'll crack on, get all these out, and show you what it's.
Give it a squirt around that one.
Show you what's actually inside, what's broken, what's going to need changing, and I've got my fingers crossed them valves are okay. Do you want me, mate? Because I've got to stand on my up. I'll go
You're
this
probably
side.
better over that side, aren't you, Rob?
What Chris just said there, we get everything out of the way and we'll pull it off so we all see it together. I think it's just this one here, mate.
I think that's going to... It's not going to come out there. You know that bracket I've loosened off?
And moved out of the way.
It's got to come right out.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What, we cut there or was it hand tight?
Well, it's sort of. You just have to waffle for 20 seconds, Rob.
That's not hard. Hand tight but tight.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Quite interesting, that rocker cover, isn't it? That it's a inlet manifold.
Built into it, yeah.
Yeah, which...
Don't you hate it when you undo something with a socket and you think, yeah, it's hand tight now. You take it off and you still can't get it undone.
It's a long bolt, I know that.
There's just a little metal bracket over the top. That's it.
I'll put that back in there, we know where that goes. Right, take two. What can you see?
I am trying to hold the camera, but not...
Stuffing in there.
Well, as far as I can see...
She's twin cam.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah, strange
Yeah.
setup.
MGFs used to do that, didn't they?
Let's have a good look in here. All the rockers are all in place. Oh no, look, there's one.
Yep.
So we've got one, and she's actually... You're going to get that magnet on that, mate?
I think I'm going to have to get a hop up as well, Rob. I can't see from here.
There's a battery there.
Yeah.
I can't see right
Let's
up.
try not to break any ankles today.
No. I can't see anything up that end, so do you want to start up that end?
Well, that one is.
Is it?
Yeah. We've got that magnet there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's bent or broken, but it's not in place.
It's not even going to fit out of there, is it?
It's not, I don't think, but it's...
I can see it all loose, and you can...
Let's have the light in there.
You can see the end of it's missing.
Yeah. That looks like the... It's job to tell, Rob. But that looks like the hydraulic follower. Tap it. Job to see.
I don't think we're going to get away with
It
not
looks like
whipping
there's
the cam out.
looks like there's something broken in there. Job to see.
What about this one I noticed up here? Is that broke? Just only because it's a little bit nearer, that's all.
Magnet's strong. Right, sorry, which one?
It was that one there.
It was,
I can
wasn't
see
it?
it's all bent.
Oh yeah, follower. Looks like it's in bits. Yeah, we're going to have to...
take the cams out.
Yeah.
You ain't getting them out through them holes, are you?
You're not.
Do you know what though? Good shout to that guy that reached out and said they do break rockers. Again, we don't know if it's done further damage.
Can you see the hydraulic tappet lying in the bottom there? I don't know if you can. Probably help if I pointed it out to you first, wouldn't it?
Yeah, go on.
Let me get the pointing stick. Let that light stay there.
I can hold it.
Can't see it now. There it is.
I think it's
there it is. It's lying in the bottom there. It's completely dislodged. Don't think we can see it.
No, we're going to have to take the cam out.
Yeah, completely dislodged, not even in its home.
You can see the end of that. It's beaten up and the roller's missing out the end of it. So
yeah.
And there's going to be more that are damaged as well, isn't there, that we haven't been able to see at the moment.
No.
Should we get them cams out?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, there's 2 holes there, possibly for timing purposes. Well, we know we've got a timing mark for this one, so we're all right there, but we're going to have to look into the timing process of them, because once we take them out...
Yes.
And that one's driving a vacuum pump, isn't it? That one's driving the
diesel pump.
So they won't just come out of there, will they?
I guess we'll do a bit of research and then
this cap, like bearing cap, is a double cap this end, isn't it? Look,
yeah,
we've got a single bearing cap there, but we've got this double one there. And I can't see what the pump's bolted to really, but yeah, there's quite a bit of work, more work involved than a Berlingo, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess we'll do a bit of research and then...
The thing is, those cams look like they're the push-on lobes, so we know that they move as well.
So it's going to want camshafts and...
Possibly, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove both camshafts and probably pump the cylinders up, aren't we, to see if they're holding, to see if we've got any valve seat damage. Oh, I can see a bit of... bit of the head's broken there.
Is it?
Although it's not the head. Is it head or is it the... Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, bit of the alley's broke there where it smashed the hydraulic follower. Yeah.
So that needs a new head.
It needs a new head.
That's a shame, isn't it? But
and that one. And that one.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to see any of that until we pull them.
Well, they're aluminium, so unfortunately I can't get them out with a magnet.
No.
But you can. Shall I take the camera and try and point it out, Rob? Because I can see it. I'll get my gloves off quick because they're covered in oil.
So send wipe the camera over.
Which end's the camera there?
And you can zoom as well with that, Chris.
I'm going to try and... Hopefully it just saw that bit move, and that is broken off. So it's like the piece of the casting that encapsulates the hydraulic follower, and obviously what it's done is ripped out like that and broke the casting.
Right.
So yeah,
that's toast.
Head's toast.
Right.
Well, we know now, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, we will show a little bit more once we get those cams out, but I need to now start the process of trying to find a head for it.
Don't even need to take the cams out.
No.
Unless, oh, we will, because the head bolts
got to come off.
Head bolts are hidden, are they? Yeah, head bolts are hidden, so the cams have got to come out. Yeah, and shame, isn't it?
I guess we take the head off before we order a new one and make sure it hasn't caused any piston damage as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, you pointlessly be buying a head, and it needs.
That's right. That's right.
54,000 miles of black carbon.
Yeah.
Bloody awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to need a bit of a decoat there, isn't it?
Right, let's do some research. Become apparent very, very quickly. Chris just removed those cams and... Oh, sorry, mate, I'm just trying to get comfy here. Where's that broken one?
well, the broken ones.
Yeah.
I've removed this one. We'll show that on the bench in a minute. But see this casting.
Let's just move forward, mate.
This casting should go round there and encapsulate the hydraulic follower. Tap it. But so what we've got here, you can see all of them have departed company, if you like. There's gap there, gap there, gap there. I would imagine it was quite high speed when it happened because every one of them has broken.
Destroyed.
So do you want to show that
Yeah,
one?
we'll just quickly show that. Where is it, mate, on the bench?
Yeah, if you go. And that's the bit. And that would fit round.
Yeah.
There. And each one of those, and it looks like every one of them's done it, has broken out of the cylinder head.
So that must have been at some serious speed.
It is.
So on that note, what we have actually decided to do is, Chris, do you want to explain what you just said to me, to save money and time, etc.?
Well, before we end up with the boot full of engine parts, and then in a few weeks' time we've got to remember where everything goes, we'll hang fire and price up what a replacement cylinder head, followers, cams, etc. are, because it might end up outpricing an engine.
Yeah.
It's a low mileage, relatively low mile engine, isn't it? 54 mileage checks out all legit, doesn't it?
It does,
so
yeah.
be nice to save that engine, because
100%.
from a resale point of view, you know, you've got a new cylinder head, new timing gear on there. Is nicer than maybe an unknown second-hand engine, isn't it?
Because they're pressed on lobes. We don't want to take a chance on our cams either,
can't
especially
really.
like
That's
that
right,
high
that's
speed.
right.
We have got the cams down here on the floor, but guys, we're just not going to take a chance on it. They are pressed on, they can move, you've all seen it before, to the point where someone said, you're being crazy, them lobes don't move, and Chris demonstrated by putting it in a vice
And knocking one
of the lobes round, and showed that they do that. But you're going to lift one out.
You can see more clearly the broken
Yeah,
bit. And I think the broken bit, I don't know if you can see that from there, I'll try and pick him up.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely toast.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that is going to be the end of today's video. Nice long half-hour episode for you. We both got involved and actually really enjoyed doing that. So, if you enjoyed it, guys, don't forget, hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. You can follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds. And, of course, you can follow Chris on his Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds Chris. Don't forget, if you are reaching out, you've got a car for sale or you're interested in one that we've just recently advertised, inbox us and always include your telephone number. Have a great evening, everyone.